here.
Yep, here we are. We've got the Sahara biome on Sahara Desert biome on Lipany. So we've got the nice looking sand dunes with the shadows and everything.
And the Lipany generation, I will say, is looking a little bit more like dry Arabia. I'm not minding this at all. Not any cliff ridge lines that are too odd. There's only a few little small ones, and a lot of the wood generations in the middle. So it's gonna be kind of a battle behind some of these forests, behind some of that, and kind of have some choke points, which offers for some interesting gameplay.
Yeah, the sides of the map are a little bit more open, especially the northwestern side of the map than you would normally see on Lipany. But yeah, I mean, there are a lot of forests in front of MarineLorD's base here, so he could potentially just try to wall up and boom. But we'll have to see what they choose to do once they scout out the map.
Yeah, I think that's one of the big things, especially with Lipany over a lot of the other maps. It's like, how does the map spawn? Because that will affect a lot of the gameplay. There's been, some weird spawns where you'll see, all sacred sites being super near, or having cliffs that basically go, oh, I can throw one little small wall segment and secure, a quarter of the map, half the map almost. Well, a little bit of that here, but at the same time, there is a lot of open area, like you said.
Yep, and yeah, just standard. Well, I say standard if there is a standard for Ottomans, but MarineLorD has been going for the build order we've been seeing from Ottomans kind of all day today, just straight onto sheep, straight onto gold. He's going to be going up as fast as possible, and Beastyqt going to be maxing out that pit mine as soon as possible, so nothing too surprising from both players. Doesn't look like we're going to have any Dark Age shenanigans or anything like that.
Yeah, we keep wanting the Dark Age shenanigans. We keep asking for it, and hopefully they'll hear us at one of these games here. We want some early game excitement coming out from this Ottoman Empire.
Yeah, maybe we'll get lucky in one of the later games. We'll see. But yeah, MarineLorD going to be clicking up pretty early here. I suspect it's going to be with the Twin Madrasa, the berry landmark we've been seeing from Ottomans every time, but Beastyqt going to be a little bit slower on that just as a result of having invested so much into that early pit mine.
Yeah, it's almost, as with anything, there's always that opportunity cost. There's always that trade-off. It is the twin madrasa, and so we'll have that, extra berry bonus coming in, nice safe food source, but at the same time, Beasty, he's going to have his own passive gold generation from that, fully stacked gold mine in the north side, and he'll be at feudal age before any pressure comes down on his base or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still, I still can't get over the lighting on the new maps with the new biomes. It's just so cool, always looking at that little bit of a differences. I'm sure in a couple months I won't notice the Sahara biome anymore, and it'll just kind of fall in with the pack. But for now, it just looks like such a cool, different change of pace.
Yeah, it is. It is definitely cool. It definitely stands out a little bit more from the rest of the biomes, just in terms of how different it is as well. Like the Mediterranean biome. It looks different as well, but it's a little bit more subtle, right? You've got the same kind of like grassy textures, and the trees are a little bit more similar, but the Sahara biome really stands out for sure.
Yeah, exactly. It just, when you have that big difference, that's really where you see it, and that's where it definitely has that, exactly. But feudal age coming in, finishing up for MarineLorD right as we speak, and will he transition over to the stone and go for that next TC, or will he go for a military school with the stone that he's opting to just now move on over to?
Yeah, it looks like it's probably going to be a second TC just based on what we've seen so far in these games, especially on Lipany with the choke points in the middle of the map here. It's not going to be as easy to apply pressure as it would have been last game on Arabia. Beasty, on the other hand, we're not sure what he's doing just yet. He doesn't have villagers moving over to stone or anything like that.
And the first stables goes down, so you can go into sure coming out from MarineLorD. It will be that second TC. He's heavy onto the stone. He's even heavier onto the wood, which means, that's the balance you want for a second TC.
Yeah, looking like a very, very similar build order to what Beasty did in the first game. Just get a stable out, get a Sipahi or two, and then just add that town center onto one of these hunts. Yeah, on the other side of the map, just looking at the mini-map, it looks like Beasty is also moving over to stone himself. So we are just going to see town centers coming out from both players.
Yep, don't you love it? The 2TC play into the full-on aggression, or I should say fast castles of full-on aggression is kind of what we've been seeing a little bit more of.
And look at just Beasty being such a bully with these deer. He's just pushing them all a little bit further apart. So when MarineLorD does go to drop a town center on that hunt, he's gonna be getting a lot less out of these deer than he would like, because they're going to be so much further away. It's going to be more inefficient. He might even have to build a mill on them if they're too far away. So that's a really nice trick from him there.
Yeah, that's one of those things that, you know, you see the pros doing it all the time and you're like, gosh, this is so annoying. When it happens to me, it's one of those things that just starts a little bit of a slow tilt. I'm like, are you serious right now? You're really going to push these deer away? And it's just like, it seems like a really big deal. And it is a pretty big deal, as it makes your food gathering way less efficient than having it, you know, nice and tucked up to the TC.
Yeah, it's a small little thing that can add up a lot over time. And while the walk time isn't that bad with the high carry capacity on the deer, like you said, it can be pretty annoying. And one other thing is it keeps them further away from the town center. So if you end up trying to raid them later on, it's not as easy for them to garrison into safety.
Exactly, and he does opt for that TC spot like we were talking about. He tucks it up closer to the berry patch, so he might opt for some berries and deer earlier. But the berries, they're not as fast as deer gathering.
Oh, but MarineLorD kind of doing a similar thing where he's actually trying to block the positioning of the town center. So that Beasty can't place it on the optimal location. Oh, that is. And that's perfect timing, too.
There's only 4 villagers here to do this TC. That's not even close to enough. This TC timing is going to be significantly delayed right now.
Yeah, that was really greedy, sending only 4 villagers for that town center from MarineLorD. And yeah, things are not looking good now. He's sending a lot more villagers up to that hunt on the north. But I imagine Beasty, having forced the vills off the stone mine, he's got to know that the TC has to be going down somewhere, right? He's going to rotate over to that hunt, and he's going to find it as it's under construction.
Well, that wasn't the only TC that MarineLorD was planning on dropping. He's wanting to go 3 TCs.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
He's 17 stone away, though, after that sofa turned over and started denying the stone. But at the same time, MarineLorD, he's delaying up Beasty's just a little bit, too. So they're both kind of just trading eco, trading damage. MarineLorD had to move back out to get 2 drops with those stone villagers. Or I should say 1.7 drops with the stone villagers. And let's see if he got enough there. I don't think he did. I think he's going to be like 2 stones short, unless he gets killed. Oh,
yeah, I guess Beasty played this smart, right? He could have rotated up to the hunt where he knew there was a TC being built, but he saw the stone count and knew that MarineLorD was going to need the stone for a second town center, so he just stayed there to try and deny it as long as possible. Now, MarineLorD could pivot a little bit. He could use that stone for military schools instead, but that's not what he wants to do, as he's already lost a few vills. He has already, you know, lost the tempo if he'd put those military schools up a little bit earlier, and so he really wants to get that 3rd TC if possible.
Yeah, exactly. You're exactly right there, and he still doesn't quite have the stone to do so, but he's moving back out for that same exact position point that he wanted to drop the TC. And if Beasty just continues to send units here, it just means more damage, more delay, more denial.
Yeah, and yeah, the Sofa Horsemen have been very effective from
Denied
Beasty.
again.
It's not a unit.
Oh my god.
Yeah, this isn't a unit we've seen much out of Malians today, but it's basically just it's like a mix kind of between a horseman and a knight. It doesn't have like the strong charge attack of the knight, but it moves a little bit more quickly. It does have a little bit of armor, and yeah, they're pretty strong against the Sipahi that MarineLorD's been making.
Yeah, and he just went for a nice old forward town center on top of that wood line, which yet again gets spotted out. Beasty coming right back in.
Oh, this is so frustrating for MarineLorD.
It looks like it's going to go up in a little bit, but 2 of those vills that are coming back to health are like at 1 single health, it looks like, and another vill goes down.
Yeah, and maybe this was something MarineLorD didn't consider when he built his military building. He built a stable, thinking he could apply a little bit of pressure, but kind of forgot that Malians do have like a lightly armored cavalry unit that does well against the Sipahi, the lightly armored cavalry unit. So If he had gone for a barracks instead, he'd be having a much easier time in terms of getting these buildings up. But Beasty's just done a fantastic job of punishing that stable.
Yeah, and the problem with TCs, it's like the timing is so key. It's all about like the payoff timing. Like, oh, you need like let's just 3 or 4 minutes until a TC ends up kind of paying off as far as the resources that you've produced. Well, if you delay that TC by a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, well, this is absolutely huge. If you think about Beasty, he got his second town center up, not too delayed, but still delayed himself. And he's transitioned more into kind of the aggression point. He's kept his military alive. And I think we'll just continue to try to pressure that 3 TC play.
Yeah, I mean now, but if you look at the economies, like it's pretty even. MarineLorD may have killed a couple vills with some Sipahi himself. And he's also adding military schools now, so like the economies are still pretty even. Like this game is even despite how well Beasty has done at denying the TCs. But now he's going for a ram, and he's actually going to be pushing this TC on the south pretty quickly here.
Yeah, he's going to go for one of those secondary TCs that went down I guess the initial one that got dropped first, that was delayed, and the ram comes down. The second TC doesn't do as good of a job defending, and more importantly, MarineLorD doesn't have the units that Beasty has to defend this. Beasty's got that passive gold coming in. They're pretty equivalent on the food and wood regards, but Beasty just has the extra gold.
And MarineLorD, right? He was just investing into military schools just now, which is gonna take some time to pay off. So like this ram timing is gonna be pretty good, as there's like he just invested so many resources into these eco buildings. But I mean, not a lot to support the ram here, as the archers didn't move up, so that's gonna buy MarineLorD a bit of time. There needs to be careful with these Spahi.
I think he really wants that second ram. It's so easy for pros to be able to protect up a town center with only one ram there, as they're so efficient at jumping in and out of the town center and letting the fire hit archers and then throwing their torches and then jumping right back inside. Well, when there's 2 rams, it comes quite a bit more difficult, and compound that and make it 3.
Yeah, 3 rams. So that town center is likely going to be going down to that. And behind it, I imagine Beasty's going to be dropping a 3rd town center himself. He has the stone for it. He's probably just waiting until he can actually succeed with this push, and then he'll go for it afterwards.
Yeah, and the problem with this push, if it does succeed, which it looks like it will, is the military units are still going to be alive, the rams are still going to be alive, and the pressure is still going to be coming, but Beasty is not going to have that pressure on his back end.
Yeah, exactly. MarineLorD buying a little bit of time, trying to poke as much damage as possible onto the rams. As long as he can keep MarineLorD fighting under the town center here, he'll at least be getting the damage done from the garrison arrows on the sofa. But that town center is going down just super quick.
Yeah, the rams, we saw first couple charges get in from the ram. The 10 villagers jump outside. They try to start torching, but all of the archers, they just jump out and start taking down the villagers that are torching down, which this is 700 resources that went down from the ram. That's 10 villager, or the 700 resources that went down from the TC. That's 10 villagers on the inside. And so much for that extra TC count for MarineLorD, as he's down in vills. And Beasty's the one with all the passive bonuses right now, other than military production for MarineLorD.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good for Beasty now, as he just continues the pressure. And yeah, these rams are going to be moving over to the next town center in the north of MarineLorD's base here. He might even choose to just drop another ram to continue this push, rather than add that town center.
I wouldn't even be surprised to see him start taking map control, get an outpost or 2 forward to help him get, vision and maybe a stealth force or 2 and cut off some of these points. But for now, it's 46 military to 18. BC's just going to go straight onto that middle town center, and all he has to do is protect up his rams, protect up his archers, and he will be good.
Yeah, that town center is not going to be easy to hold, as a couple villagers go down there. Only 5 vills garrisoned in the TC as well. MarineLorD trying to just pick off the reinforcements, trying to buy time for his own military mass to grow and try and contest this push. But it's not going to be in time to save this town center, I think, as the town center is already super low. It's already burning. He's pulled the Vills to repair. He's trying to go in now with the Spahi to pick off the Rams. And it looks like he is going to get the Rams. He is probably going to save the town center, but at what cost?
At what cost is right. Those archers are just still firing down on all the Vills that were helping rebuild it. Beasty, he might lose a lot of his military, a lot of his army, but the TC numbers are even, and Beasty's up 20 Vills and has all of the idol.
Metter, no!
No, not the Metter! Oh, no! All right, so will the rest of the archers get cleaned up? Even if they do, Beasty, he's still going to have more military behind this and a significantly better economy behind this.
Oh, the reinforcements coming, though. He's not even going to lose all the archers, and he's done a fantastic job of kiting out of here as well. And, yeah, MarineLorD's going to be forced to retreat. And look at the economy now. There's a 20 villager lead almost for Beasty, and he's got 8 cattle as well. He's got both pit mines up. He's looking very comfortable right now.
I mean, it's one of those positioning points where you're like, this game right now is Beasty's to lose. He's been playing the beginning of this game so well, delaying the TC, delaying the third TC, delaying his opponent, pressuring it, fully denying a TC, and now moving on to try to get to kill the next TC, which is already, what was that, a quarter of the health left now? It's about to, like, first ram hit, it might get put on fire.
Yeah, he might be repairing it. We're not sure. Oh, that's a lot of exposed villagers on that hunt there. He's also, but I don't think MarineLorD's aware of the hunt. He's just on his, oh, there's a lot of vills walking through the stealth forest.
Oh, that's a nice little pickup from MarineLorD. He's able to get a nice little vill pickup, but right as Beastyqt is starting to push through back on that town center and raid some on the backside. That's a free ram pickup, though.
Yeah, that's a really nice pickup for MarineLorD. Buys him so much time being able to pick off this ram and kill those villagers. And if he can find the vills on that hunt right here, that could be really good for him. Beasty's desperately trying to build that gate to escape, but MarineLorD didn't notice.
Yeah, he kind of just slid right by with those vills and actually pulled right back on through. He has the gate finished, so he can retreat and has a little way out for the time being, but needs to react there. There it is. He's pulling on back. I don't think any, or if so, there'll be like one vill going down. Beasty, though, pushing in back on top of that secondary TC, doesn't have a ram to help take it down, so push will be futile for the time being.
Yeah, he's going to have to back up, but MarineLorD not watching his spot. He's gonna lose a couple of them there. Yeah, I mean, things are still looking really good for Beasty, though. Despite these attempts by MarineLorD, he's still behind by 20 vills. The push is still, you know, knocking on his front door. Another ram being added. MarineLorD turning around to try and finish off these sofa, but not gonna be successful.
No, not at all. And, you know, Beasty, in just a second, he's going to, I think he keeps on trying to go in with like one ram. We noticed with the first town center, he needs about two or three. Three will take it down very quickly, but 2 would probably be the efficient number to make it work. And I think he's going right back in with 1 again, but might just commit a little bit heavier with the military mass that he has. Yeah,
MarineLorD gonna try to take a good fight here. The Spahi not getting into a bad position on the archers, but the Donso are just so good against the Spahi. Yeah. Look at how they melt.
And look at how Beasty just kited the archers back into that little choke point, allowed the Donso to step up, take the brunt of the force, and the whole entire time, yes, he may lose this ram, but this time, look at the army numbers on the ground. MarineLorD throws in the towel. Beastyqt ties up the series. We're going to game number 3.
Yeah, so we have a Malian victory in both the first 2 games. Not looking super good for Ottomans, unfortunately, but man, Beasty just played that game super well in the early game with those first few sofa. He really was just super on top of denying the town centers and bought himself so much time. If MarineLorD had gotten that 3rd town center up, like when he originally wanted to, it might have been a completely different game, as he would have, you know, had probably like 10 to 15 more vills in the time that town center was denied, right?
Yeah, and that means a much earlier transition into those military schools, which means you have a quicker payoff timing for those. You're having military units out quicker. All of these fights means MarineLorD has a few more military units, is able to produce more. So it definitely has that profound effect. But, you know, Beasty was able to spot out that TC drop early, and it's amazing. One little sofa and a small commitment by MarineLorD as far as the villagers to build that town.